I think one of the things that I truly struggled with for most of my life, up until recently, was that I was ashamed of my own uniqueness. I guess for the most part, that stemmed from me thinking that I never really fit into the archetype of what it means to be a man or what it means to be masculine, right? You know, when you think about being a man or being masculine, you think about that overly aggressive macho man that is good at working on cars and building stuff and fixing stuff, so on and so forth, right? And I never really fit into that, right? I was never really that, right? I genuinely hated and still hate doing shit like that, right? You know, as I got older, I actually became more balanced and I was able to do the minor stuff that I needed to do to survive, like change a tire, so on and so forth. But for the most part, I was never really that. I never really fit into that archetype, right? I was more of the thinker. I loved things that genuinely had to do with me engaging my mind and deep thinking and deep thoughts and so on and so forth. That's truthfully who I was, right? I fit into more of the, if you want to reference it to back in the day, more of the philosopher, the thinker archetype, right? But for the most part, I felt shame about that. And I felt shame about quite a few other things as it pertains to who I truly am naturally, right? A lot of other things that I don't even want to really get into on a public video, right? Things that I genuinely just keep to myself, right? But I really felt shame, a lot of shame, about who I truly was, right? I remember it got to a point in my life in which I really began to ask myself if there truly was a place for me in this world. And when I say a place for me in this world, what I mean is that if there truly was a place in which I was valued, if there truly was a place in which my uniqueness was seen as valuable, in which I could just really be myself, and just by me being myself, I was valued, and I didn't really had to bend or mold myself into something else in order to be valued, right? That's what I truly began to wonder. And I think ultimately that's what we all search for in this world, right? Ultimately what we want is a place in this world in which we feel like we belong, in which we feel like we're valued, in which we feel like we're treasured just from us being our own unique self, right? That's what I think we all truly desire at our core, right? But something that I had to realize after countless days and nights of feeling ashamed about who I was, after countless days and nights of me suppressing myself, after countless days and nights of me questioning myself, something that I had to realize was that finding that place in this world in which I was valued, in which my uniqueness was treasured, first began with me giving myself that place. And when I say giving myself that place, what I mean is letting myself know that it is okay to just be me. Letting myself know that it is okay to just be Davarni, just be my unique expression, just to be who I truly am without trying to be something else. That's where finding that place in this world begins. It begins right here, right? That's something that I had to truly realize. I think a lot of us spend so much time running away from who we are, and we never truly take the time to stop and meet ourselves. And when I say meet ourselves, what I mean is just allowing ourselves to be, giving ourselves a home, giving ourselves a sacred place in which we can rest, giving ourselves the reassurance and the validation that we need to just be ourselves, and to stop performing. Stop performing for love, stop performing for validation, stop performing for likes, stop performing for, a fake place, if you want to say that, in which we don't truly belong. That's what I truly mean. A lot of us are willing to fit ourselves into this box or into this cage, of what we believe is valuable, of what we believe is treasured, right? We spend so much of our lives suppressing who we are, so much of our lives running away from who we are, just so that we can have people around us, just so that we can say we have friends, so we can say, we have family members who truly value us, or just so that we can say we're in a relationship, right? We spend so much of our lives hiding ourselves away just so that we can say we have people around us. But if you have people around you, right, not on the premise of you being your actual self, if you have people around you and you're pretending to be someone else, you're ashamed of who you are just so that you can have people around you, right? You don't have anyone around you. That's the truth. When it comes on to life, relationships are all about being who you truly are. A relationship between two people, whether platonic or romantic, is all about two people seeing each other for who they truly are, or at least two people showing up authentically, two people truly being themselves, two people not suppressing who they truly are, two people recognizing the soul of the other person. That's what a relationship is all about, right? And we spend so much time placing ourselves in these situations, placing ourselves in these relationships in which we truly can't even show up as ourselves, in which we can't even truly be ourselves, right? All because we're ashamed of who we are, right? And I lived a large portion of my life being ashamed of myself, and that was tiring. My soul felt like I was being stifled internally. Putting on a mask, pretending to be someone that you're not, it was one of the worst times in my life, right? It was absolutely horrible. And so if you're watching this and you've been pretending for a large portion of your life, like I was, if you're watching this and you spent a large portion of your life being ashamed of who you are, being ashamed of your uniqueness, being ashamed of your authenticity, all I want to say to you is, you are valued. You are valued for who you are. Your uniqueness matters. Your authenticity matters, right? Your expression matters. Your archetype matters. Who you are at your core matters. And you don't have to go through this world being ashamed of who you are, right? You are a part of this thing that we call life, this part of this grand ecosystem that we call life, right? And your uniqueness matters to this whole ecosystem. Like, think about it. I was saying this to myself the other day. Imagine if we only had sort of one type of plant in this world that has the same function, has the same benefits, does the same thing, right? Our world would be lacking in diversity, because it is the diversity that benefits this whole planet. Or imagine if we only had one type of animal on this whole planet, right? Our world would be lacking in diversity, because everything that is here matters. Everything that is here for a reason. Everything that is here has a grand purpose. And you have a grand purpose as well. Just based on who you are at your core, you are here for a reason. Right? You came into this world with a unique expression because there are lives in this world. Select lives in this world that you're meant to touch. Select lives in this world that you're meant to impact, right? And the reason why I say select is because no matter who you are, you're not going to connect with everyone. You know, Michael Jackson is a really good artist and he's popular, but there are a lot of people in this world who don't like his music, right? There are a lot of speakers who are popular that I've listened to, but I don't even really relate to them. And I might relate to someone who isn't as popular, but who connects with my soul, right? So no matter who you are, you're not going to connect with everyone. You're not going to align with everyone, but you are going to connect with the people who are meant for you. You are going to connect with the people who you're meant to connect with. You are going to connect with the people who you're supposed to give your gifts and your talents and your uniqueness to in order for them to truly begin changing their lives, right? So your uniqueness matters. And every single day that we spend being ashamed of who we are. Every single day that we spend hiding ourselves away, placing ourselves in a cage, you know, we're depriving these people of the gift that we came into this world to give. So there truthfully is no point in going to this world being ashamed of who you are. There truly isn't. Right? You matter. Your uniqueness matters. Your expression matters. Everything about you matters. And when it comes down to life, all you have to do is to be yourself, your highest self, your best self, your authentic self, and give yourself to life. Give yourself to the world. Don't be so concerned on who likes you. Don't be so concerned of whether or not this person thinks you're awesome or this person thinks you're valuable, right? First and foremost, you have to be valuable to you, right? That's where it first begins. And in all actuality, you shouldn't even be ashamed, you know, or you shouldn't be sort of caught up on who likes you either, right? I think something that I had to realize going through life was that I can't even take to heart the people who like me. Because when I get so wrapped up in their validation and their, you know, their acceptance, I begin to sort of perform in order to fit what I believe that I'm meant to be, or I begin to sort of perform in order to sort of fit the idea of what they think I'm supposed to be, if that makes sense, right? So I can't even be concerned about who likes me and who doesn't like me, because then I begin to stifle myself in order to fit into an idea that I think they have of me, instead of me just truthfully being myself, allowing myself to express myself, living from moment to moment, and be present with the moment so that the best of who I am can be expressed. That is what life is about. And the more I live, the more I grow, the more I age, the more I gain more wisdom, the more I realize that life is truly just simple. We just complicate it, right? We complicate it because we have this need to be liked, this need to be accepted. But we have to realize that any sort of acceptance begins with ourselves first, begins with giving ourselves a home, begins with recognizing that we are valuable just for who we are. That's where it truly begins. And all those years that I spent being ashamed of who I am, all those years I spent hiding myself away, right? Obviously those years are important because those years helped me get to a point in which I truly had to recognize that I am valuable, right? But all those years, in a sense, I don't even want to say they were a waste, but I didn't have to do that. Because just from being me, just from being myself, I have so much value. I have so much worth. My uniqueness is a treasure. There's no one in this world or no one in history who is me and who can be like me, right? There truly isn't. I am one of one, and so are you. So don't be ashamed of who you are. Don't live your life being ashamed. Don't live your life hiding yourself away. Don't live your life bending and molding yourself into something that you're not, just so you can be accepted. Don't do that. Let yourself be free. Release yourself from that cage and set yourself free, because you're meant to soar, right? You are meant to soar. And all you have to do is just let yourself be, right? That's truthfully it. So yeah, I guess this has been something that has been on my heart, and I've sort of made this breakthrough in my life, in which I've truly just began to allow myself to be. I stopped pretending. I stopped wearing a mask. I stopped performing. I stopped being ashamed of who I am, and I've just been allowing myself to be. And it is such a beautiful thing, right? It is such a beautiful thing when you don't have to perform, and when you feel so good about yourself, when you think so highly of yourself, and you're no longer so concerned about what others in the world thinks of you. There is such a great freedom in that. And that's what I wish for everyone to experience. That's what I wish for everyone to really get to that place in which they truly just let themselves be. Let themselves go. And realize that their uniqueness, the things that they find it hard to accept about themselves, those things are valuable as well, right? So, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here with me. Give yourselves a little bit of love every day, like I always say. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings.